Yes. Okay, something really very funny happened today on my program. So I anchor a 1 hour live program, and I had pre-informed my guests that, okay, you know what, you're going to be on my show today, and I need you to. It's going to be a virtual interview, so you have the option of.
On Global TV News Express, federal government warns saboteurs as power generation rises to 4,800 megawatts. 2 million jobs underway as federal government launches iDice program. Security challenge, Katsina State governor seeks federal government support. On foreign scene, Palestinian envoy calls for UN independent investigation into mass graves in Gaza. In sports, Man City's Fabian Shaw wins Football Writers Player of the Year award. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. The Katsina State government has appealed to the federal government to tackle insecurity in some parts of the state, stressing that poverty, injustice and illegal mining are major factors fueling the menace. The state governor, Diko Umarada, made the appeal when he paid a courtesy call on the Minister of Solid Mineral Development, Oladile Alake, in Abuja. Sharon J has details.
In his remarks, the governor of Katsina State, Dinko Umar Rada, urged the minister to revoke licenses of operators that refuse to develop or commence projects and investigate instances of operators parading dubious letter of consent from host communities. He further lauded the minister's efforts in repositioning the mining sector while expressing the state's readiness to partner the federal government to harness its mineral resources for the benefit of the state and the nation.
For the country now to focus attention on the solid minerals because Nigeria has suffered on that, and this is an area in which the country can rejuvenate its economy and makes life better for the citizens. And I think we want to assure you that as a government, we will support all their initiatives to harness this sector and to make it viable and for our economy to prosper.
In his response, the Minister of Solid Mineral Development, Oladile Alake, explained that the federal government places premium on Katsina in its plans for the development of the mining sector because of the large deposits of valuable minerals. He further urged states to seek approval of the federal government before making policy pronouncements on mining activities.
I'm proposing a retreat with all the governors to resolve areas of misunderstanding and conflict and misperception. For instance, we've heard from several states governors making policy pronouncements on the solid mineral sector, which is not ideal. The solid mineral sector, as at today, belongs exclusively to the exclusive list of the Constitution, which means it is only the federal government that can make pronouncements.
The minister further rules out that the federal government is set to hold a retreat that will address grey areas and in order address the challenges facing the mining sector. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
The Defense Headquarters says that 2 military personnel will face court-martial for the December 3rd, 2023 accidental bombing on the Tudunburi village of Kaduna State. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Bube, revealed this during a press briefing at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja on Thursday. Bube said the investigation launched into the incident had been concluded, with 2 personnel indicted The accident, bombing, led to the death of at least 85 civilians, with several injured. President Bola Tinubu ordered a probe into the incident, while the military promised that any personnel found culpable would be punished. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has placed international schools charging tuition in dollars and other foreign currencies under surveillance as part of measures to reduce the pressure on the naira. The head media publicity EFCC, Dele Oyewale, said the agency would clamp down on schools and other organizations charging in foreign currencies. He reiterated that it was illegal for schools, hotels, and firms operating in the country to charge for services in foreign currencies. The Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGA, has reaffirmed that media freedom of expression and access to public information are crucial to democracy and must be at the heart of the Nigerian government's values and actions. In a press statement issued to mark this year's World Press Freedom Day and signed by its president, Eze Anaba, the professional body recognizes the crucial role played by journalists, media workers, and independent media in protecting the country's democracy. It advised them not to give up in spite of prevailing economic challenges. The Guild also requested the National Assembly to initiate and adopt a law to protect journalists who speak out on matters of public interest, especially against abusive and strategic lawsuits which are regularly initiated to silence them. In a more recent development, the Oyo State Council of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives has threatened to embark on an indefinite strike if their demands are not met in 14 working days. The council, in a letter addressed to Governor Seyi Makinde, stated that the resolution was made after its state executive council meeting held on issues affecting the welfare and career progression of nurses working with the state government. The demands of the nurses border on shortage of staff, correction of the wrong national date on promotion letters, and implementation of the adjusted consolidated health salary structure, among others. According to the nurses, the ultimatum, which began on May 2nd, 2024, will end on May 21st, 2024, and the indefinite strike will commence on May 22nd if the demands are not met. The Lagos State Police Command says it stumbled on a drug den during its operation in the Lekpo market in the Okiodo area of Lagos State, following clashes between youths and hoodlums. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Hunde, said that in an attempt to dislodge the hoodlums, the law enforcement officers stumbled upon a hidden drug den that had been operating in plain sight. The hoodlums residing in the shanties beside the market were said to have wielded a series of dangerous weapons during the clash, inflicting injuries on each other. Some shops were also set on fire while goods belonging to traders were destroyed in the process. A coalition of civil society organizations has called on Nigerians to desist from supporting looters and corrupt politicians in the country. The call was made by over 50 civil society organizations led by the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, at a World Press Conference on Corruption in Nigeria held in Abuja. The group urged Nigerian youth to allow the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to perform its constitutional rights and not disrupt the agency's arrest and prosecution plans. Sam Melody has details.
The Constellation of Civil Society Groups said that ordinary Nigerians are always at the receiving end when funds meant for development is misappropriated or looted by politicians. It observed that prosecution does not mean conviction, adding that youth must support the prosecution of corrupt politicians.
Procurement of political power appointment by some suspected or investigated looters who are serving under the current administration as ministers, legislators, or occupying leadership position of the ruling party has exposed anti-corruption work to serious setback and deliberate sabotage that cripples the efficiency of the anti-corruption agencies. It is distressing to see people facing corruption allegations being appointed by the president to handle various positions of authority.
Nigeria's growing corruption system. Corruption poses a significant obstacle to establishing effective governance in Nigeria. By diverting resources and subverting transparent systems designed to ensure the delivery of good public services, corruption hinders the nation's capacity to develop.
It further urges President Tinubu's led administration to address the rising defamation of anti-corruption agencies in the country.
Today, many serving lawmakers and ministers have corruption allegations against them. This is producing a culture of impunity, where politicians engage in corrupt practices without fear of consequences. This has eroded public trust in government and undermined legitimacy of democratic process.
To address the growing crisis facing anti-corruption programs, we recommend the following. 1, growing concerns over the declining levels of autonomy and integrity of the judiciary must be addressed. The National Judicial Council must diligently monitor its members and promptly remove any corrupt judicial officer found to be compromising the judicial system.
There has always been corruption in this country, so it's not a new phenomenon. Our alarm is based on the new dimension that corruption has reached in our country, where it's making it virtually impossible for government to do its work. The work of government is to provide for the welfare and security of Nigerians, and increasingly government is not able to do that.
They noted that Nigerians have their hopes on democracy despite its flaws and urges anti-corruption agencies and judiciary to do the needful. I am Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television.
The federal government has mandated all chief medical directors and medical directors of federal tertiary hospitals to procure needles and syringes solely from National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency NAFDAC-approved local manufacturers. The new directive is contained in a circular addressed to all CMDs and MDs signed by the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa. The minister said that the directive was aimed at boosting domestic production and shielding the country's manufacturing sector from the influx of foreign goods. The circular also mandated NAFDAC to stop issuing licenses for the importation of foreign manufactured needles and syringes. You're watching News Express, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on our social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Express returns, government borrows 11 trillion naira via bonds, T-bills in 4 months. This and other stories coming right after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now you've just joined us. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Express. On the foreign scene, the United States has accused Russia of deploying chemical weapons as a method of warfare in Ukraine in violation of international laws banning their use. State Department officials said Russia used the choking agent chloropysrine to win battlefield gains over Ukraine. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, a global watchdog that oversees implementation of the CWC, said a chemical weapon is a substance used to cause intentional death or harm through its toxic properties. The Palestinian envoy to Nigeria, Ambassador Abdullah Abu Shawesh, says over 37 million tons of debris and unexploded ordnance lie in waiting at Gaza Strip. He made the revelations at a press briefing in Abuja on the situation on Gaza Strip. Anthony Mamadou has details.
Ambassador Abdullah Abu Shawesh says the number of persons killed in the Hamas-Israel conflict has reached over 34,000, with 77,000 wounded and unspecified number of persons missing. The ambassador says Euro-made monitor report reveals the discovery of dozens of bodies from the mass graves in Al-Shifa Medical Complex courtyard, and says calls for an independent investigation to hold those responsible accountable.
They discovered two mass graves in Al-Shifa and on Nasser hospitals. What we are calling for, as I was very clear in this regard, and I repeated myself 2 times, we call likewise the spokesman of the United Nations Secretary General, we call for an independent investigation committee, fact-finding commission to come and to investigate and to bring to us all, to the international community, and a clear, trustable report about what happened and about the mass graves and about the using of banned weapons, part of these banned weapons.
He also called for the independent investigation of the October 7th, 8th and 9th events that have shaped the conflict and Israeli occupation, while decrying the struggle of 155,000 pregnant women and children for survival.
To what happened in the Security Council, to their statements in the Security Council, they used to deliver on a very strong, very direct, very clear statement, even against the United States of America when they used the veto 5 times before, during the last. So that again, no, we are fully trust of the Russia and China position when it came to the Palestinian-Israeli issue. The building of my ministry, the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Palestine, was fully financed by China and was fully built or financed or by China. I mean, which means that I think, and also there is a lot of technical support that the Chinese is used to give us.
The ambassador also applauded the Russian and Chinese governments for their support, as well as the United Nations for their support. Anthony Mamadou reports for Global Television.
The death toll from flood-related incidents in Kenya has crossed 200 since March as torrential rains wreaked havoc in some parts of the country. A cyclone barred towards the Tanzanian coast in the Interior Ministry said in a statement that 22 people have been killed in the past 24 hours due to triggering flooding and landslides that have destroyed crops, swallowed homes, and displaced hundreds of thousands of people. In business, the federal government has raised a total sum of 11 trillion naira through auctions and sales of treasury bills and saving bonds issuance in 4 months. An analysis of bonds and bills results issued this year by the Central Bank and the Debt Management Office showed that the government had raised 3.1 trillion naira in federal government bonds and 7.92 trillion naira in T-bills between January and April 2024, totaling 11.2 trillion naira. These bonds, being crucial instruments for the government's debt management strategy, serve multiple purposes, including providing investors with a relatively safe investment option, assisting in managing the country's debt profile, and facilitating efficient fund management. Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has said that a policy that would enforce road worthiness of truck heads plowing roads in the state would be implemented. Addressing the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ekberigwe Ekpo, and his entourage, who paid him a courtesy call in his office in Okemosan, Abeokuta, after visiting the site of last Saturday's explosion. Abeokuta said attention would also be paid to gas cylinders used by the trucks to ensure quality and standard. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Leko Adeniro, the governor said the steps became necessary for gas utilization's preponderance. The Nigerian Governors Forum emphasized the need for the government and organized labor to come up with a sustainable minimum wage in the ongoing negotiations. The NGF, which made the call in a communique issued at the end of its virtual meeting and signed by its chairman and Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, assured labor of government's commitment to pay the workers an improved wage. In response, the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress warned the state governors against defaulting on the new minimum wage that will be approved during the ongoing negotiations. However, the NGF in its statement said it was assessing each state government's fiscal capacity and the potential effects of different proposals to determine an enhanced minimum wage that could be sustained by the states. Now, in the world of sports, Cristiano Ronaldo showed he's not quite as self-centered as some may believe, as he allowed Sadio Mane to take a penalty during Al Nassr's clash with Al Khalid Ronaldo. Ronaldo, who returned from suspension in the first leg after being sent off against Al Hilal last month, had already scored a brilliant opener of his own when his side were awarded a sport kick in the first later stages of the first half. The Portuguese superstar is Al Nassr's designated penalty taker, but handed the responsibility to his teammates in an effort to boost his confidence. Ronaldo could be seen encouraging Mane in the background as he stepped up and duly tucked it away to double the home side's lead. To end our Global TV News Express, let's take a look at our top stories. Federal government warns saboteurs as power generation rises to 4,800 megawatts. 2 million jobs on the way as MG launches iGuides program. Security challenge, Katsina State Governor seeks federal government support. Unfolds Palestinian envoy calls for UN independent investigation into mass graves in Gaza. And in sports, Man City's Foden Shaw wins Football Writers Player of the Year award. That's it on the News Express. And it came to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using a Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.